So the first actual live performance of Loose Leaves in its current incarnation was actually put on way back in high school. We just realized that not too long ago.
Yeah, we were all in that, and then me and Trace and Justin actually did a one-off performance in the talent show, playing a song "Running from Winter" that Trace wrote that we used to do in Black Earth Country, um, and that was really like the first Loose Leaves performance, I guess. Even though Loose Leaves wouldn't be a thing for a number of years after that.
And then we did a talent show together. It was actually Loose Leaves Now, me, Trace, and Jacob. We did a talent show together.
Yeah.
And that was the first Loose Leaves performance. Little did we know.
The song's called Running from Winter.
Definitely, it's a different part, but church. My mom was she was leader of the church choir my whole youth, ever since I was a baby, and eventually ended up being a pastor. But she, with that scheduling, it's like you go to church every day. There's a really good Steve Harvey bit about it. It's really funny. But so whenever she went, she was always playing. She played piano, and I went and like they had a little organ there and had all these cool settings and like just experimenting with sound. I'm like, man, this is all so cool. Yeah. And like I was a pots and pans type kid, just like grabbing up whatever kitchenware and just banging on it. And then they were just like, all right, this kid wants to play, so I guess we'll get him something. I was around 5 years old, Christmas, got a drum kit, like one of the best days ever, as you could imagine.
Yeah.
And mom just like, just in her wisdom and knowing what to do, she's like, you should play for the church. And I'm not going to say no. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. Like, I was going with her all the time anyway. So I'd rather be playing while I was there. And, like, it was cool. Just, like, and a lot of those hymns and stuff, just so soulful. And just, like, have a lot of, like, just, I don't know, they move, man. Like, regardless of your religious belief or whatever, you listen to that music, it'll move you.
Yeah.
And if you say it doesn't, you're either one, not listening, or two, just bullshitting. And you don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
But honestly, like all that stuff is just so good. I just started playing. I just played with her, just alongside her forever, and along with the Beatles tapes too. So like Ringo Starr, my mom was my band. They were my mates.
Well, as a young child, I really listened to pop country radio.
Right.
And then around 8th grade, I really started getting into rock music and actually like listening to music and really looking into it more on my own when me and my friends Matt and Ryan started trading CDs around and really getting interested in bands and their catalogs and looking into the history of things. And then when I saw Rush when I was 14 was like the real exposure to music that really inspired me to start playing.
Well, I remember like riding around with various people in my family and them listening to like old Southern rock and stuff. Like I remember listening to the music, like I remember that being played for some reason. I remember that song a lot, and yeah, just lots of old classic rock and stuff. But at the time, I don't think I really appreciated any of it. I was, like I said, listening to Nelly and stuff. But as far as like the first album I ever owned was A Better Life or The Better Life or A Better Life or something. It was a Three Doors Down album. I don't know if you remember the things like the little CD things you could check off which CDs you want and get them for a certain amount of money. They were like a mail-in type of deal back in the day. I don't really remember how they worked. Yeah.
Mostly my mom's side. Actually, all my mom's side. Like I said, she played piano. Her brother, my uncle, was a guitar player, bass player. He played in some funk bands growing up. Some of my other uncles, they all play guitar. My great uncle was a saxophone player.
Wow.
Super into jazz, and like, I don't know. I got exposed to all that stuff like kind of early, I guess.
Yeah.
And like I was just like, man, like it's far out, bro. It's like I don't know, man. It's just cool. It's all I've never. So I've always paid attention to it. It's always been around, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, yep, that's it. Even this is a funny little anecdote. Even back in the day, you know, Hog Wild.
Yeah.
They used to have like that painting of that pig playing guitar,
Yeah.
and so I just thought it was a music store or something, and I was like, dude, we gotta go there. And Mom was like, nah, we're never going there. So
awesome.
it was just like anything. If I saw an instrument, I was like, they sell music, we gotta go there. And, you know, you grow up and you learn things what things are. But yeah, I mean, I've just been around it forever, so I was like,
You remember going to the music store as a kid?
yeah, there were a few. There was the earliest I can remember was Johnson's Music. Yeah, and it was downtown on Broad Street, right across from where Stir Fry is now, and I think it's Sea Oddities now or something. But that used to be a music store, and they had like such a cool layout in the bottom, everything you could imagine. And we took guitar lessons up top. So and they actually had a Beatles poster in there too, so I was sold. And I was like, okay. But yeah, I went there, and we went to JJ's in Bristol, which I don't think it's there anymore, and Morel's, which is still kicking. So yeah, I always played drums. Drums is the thing I just remember just always playing. Started that, I guess, around 3 or 4 years old, and then got interested in guitar when I was about, I want to say 7, maybe 7 or 8. I feel like I maybe got to play maybe like a couple in some stores. Like back then, like, I don't know, you're a kid, so one, people don't trust you around expensive things. One of those people being my dad, so it's like, he knows, like, I want to go run to him. He's like, he's just like, either ask or like, but Dad was actually like, he was like, you can ask him, but a lot of people didn't let you play. So I just like brought out pots and pans, and like, I know I'd have a setup to where it's like mimic it as much as possible. Like I didn't have a kick or anything. I was like, alright, so I have a snare here, there's a tom, I got a little tom here. I know you got 2 cymbals and a hat, so I just like pretty much configured that with plates and pans. And
That's amazing.
that's just do what you got, man. I got to play somehow. So.
Well, the first time I really saw anyone play guitar was my uncle. One of my uncles had gotten the guitar out of the attic at my papa's house and fixed it up, but he didn't know how to play it. And then the other one just kind of basically like took it and was like just played it all the time. And he was really good. He was I guess maybe he was a drifter of sorts. I don't know, but he had been a lot of places and played a lot of like, you know, old like Delta blues, like down there in Mississippi and stuff with people in his travels and stuff. So he was a pretty awesome guitar. And that was the first time I'd ever really been around a guitar being played. And you know, I was about 11 or 12, you know.
Yeah.
And it never really hit me to actually like start playing, because I'd been writing melodies and stuff since I was like really young, like 7 or 8 years old. But I never thought to really do anything with them. I would just like make up melodies and lyrics and write them or like type them on my keyboard, or like there was an old laptop that I would type them on. And I'd write like dirty raps and like hide them. Yeah, but then there's, you know, stuff with like lyrics and melodies and things like that. But I never actually thought to add actual music. Like I never asked for a guitar or anything. It was just something that like kind of almost did in secret. And then I got a guitar It was like a hand-me-down guitar from my dad, who he had given to my brother several Christmases before. And yeah, so yeah, and then I got a guitar, and it all clicked. So it all made sense. They were a bit rowdy back in the day, but I'm very grateful for all of them, and yeah, anything like that. That's what makes you who you are. So, well, that was, I feel like, the Christmas of like 2003 or so. It was after I had lived in East Tennessee for a few years, so I was probably about 13 or 14.
The first time I played out, me and my brother did the talent show. I was in kindergarten, he was in first grade. And we played Ticket to Ride by the Beatles. Drew kind of Houdini'd the guitar, but we sang it together. And I played, and that was really fun. And that was like, I guess I caught the bug then. I mean, we did it every year after. So, and, what was the second part of the question? Oh, the first thing I recorded was probably the small group of people thing, where we really, really like took it seriously and recorded. There were days. There's another thing going back a little bit. I have a other brother, Marcus, older brother, and he's like maybe 12 years older than I.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were in in our elementary school phase, he was like he was out of his high school phase, and, young adult, young kid.
Yeah.
And he was in the hip hop and the rap, and so him and his buddies rapped all the time, and they'd record in their room and stuff, and he let us sit in, and like he was cool about it. He was like, because he knew we liked the music that much, so he was like, well, I'm gonna put him around it too.
Yeah.
So we'd bullshit with them and like maybe say something stupid or, but I mean, the first real recording I remember doing was the small group of people thing with Trace actually.
Yeah.
It's Trace, my brother, Travis Phillips, and Aaron Derrick.
Yeah.
And that was me, and then we were the band, and we recorded, I think for 3 days. I only got to show up for like maybe 1.5 days, and somebody else played the drums on the rest of it. I think it might have been Trace actually. I have to fact check him on that. I don't know, but that was a fun time.
Well, as a kid, my dad listens to a lot of NPR and a lot of like bluegrass radio shows. I didn't have a whole lot of exposure to rock music when I was a kid. It was mostly all Americana with some variety.
Right.
Which didn't really have a whole lot of influence on me early on, but I think it's had a big influence on the way I've approached things as an adult. And my dad's definitely recommended some artists to me that I wouldn't have probably gotten into very much on my own that have really influenced my music a lot, like Jason Isbell. Yeah, well, I mean, as a kid, Matt was like my best friend. We spent a lot of time together from the time that we were in. I made friends with Matt through Cub Scouts when we were in 2nd or 3rd grade. And then all through middle school, even before I played music, we spent a lot of time together. We learned to program together, and we made a lot of games and stuff. And then on through roulette, and then between that, me and Matt always wrote music together. Even when we didn't have a band, we still kept writing songs together. A lot of which never materialized into anything, but we were still writing music together. And then, even now, we work together a little bit on electronic music, or we at least send each other's work back and forth and discuss it, during the development phase.
Well, Kara was always singing. I didn't actually start singing until probably, well, singing enough to write my songs and show the band, but as far as actually singing on a recording, that wasn't until like high school. So, yeah, I know I like doing it, but I didn't really get any traction with it until I met a friend in 6th grade who played, and he showed me how to do power chords, and like showed me like Iron Man and those songs starting out, so, and that's when I was actually started to develop. But other than the power chords, I wound up just like reading books and stuff and learning how to do chords and things like that,
Yeah.
like actual open chords and everything.
So,
No, he moved at some point. I don't know where he moved to, but yeah, he wound up moving.
Well, Aaron had been a singer in Trace and Justin's band in high school, along with another guy named Travis Phillips. They'd been playing together since middle school. I remember them playing at the middle school dances under the name Tripwire. And then that evolved into a small group of people, which I think was all the same members but with a different name.
Justin was in Tripwire, wasn't
Yeah, Justin played drums and Drew played bass. And it had been Aaron doing vocals, and then Trace also sang, and so did Travis. When we started Black Roof Country, Aaron was like the obvious choice for a lead vocalist because that had always been Trace's bandmate. Our Black Roof Country was really a combination of Roulette and a small group of people. A small group of people is what they were through most of high school. They have an actual studio recorded CD under that name. I mean, they were 9th grade when they recorded it, but it's all original material, and just Steel Queen Elizabeth, that was a song on there. It's pretty neat. It's definitely not mediocre, especially for some 13, 14-year-olds. 14. I want to say I went to that concert in the beginning of the year, maybe around like, that might have been June, maybe. Yeah, around the middle of the year, and then I got my first bass for Christmas that year. So I might have been 15 when I started playing then, because I would have been 15 at that point. Yeah, that would have been Roulette, Matt, that I went to the concert with and everything. Me and him started a band with 2 other guys, Casey and another guy named Matt from high school. And we wrote quite a few songs. Me and Matt wrote collaboratively a lot. We used to we were used to write music in Guitar Pro. We would make guitar tabs and send the files back and forth over AOL Instant Messenger while we sat on our landline phones with a headset discussing it. Like, Matt would play little bits over the phone while I had my headset on. We kept sending those files back and forth and collaborating, and I wrote a lot of lyrics at that point in time. I wasn't as up to speed musically as Matt. With Roulette, I know we did like a couple of talent shows and a few other little things here and there. We didn't really play a whole lot of gigs at venues around town, but we did practice a lot, and that was a really formative experience, I guess. That was my first time playing with other people and a drummer and a rhythm guitar player, and kind of learning to jam a little bit, and giving me like a practice schedule and teaching me how to really learn things. The first time we played, it was at a Battle of the Bands, and I was really nervous. And then we got on stage, and I was like, oh, I'm not nervous at all, actually. And I've never been nervous since getting on stage.
Yeah, he and Matt Smith had a band in high school as well, and they beat us in a Battle of the Bands.
They bested you.
They did, which, like I said, Matt Smith was a phenomenal guitarist.
Yeah.
He was ridiculous, man. And now he's a phenomenal bread baker. He's going to be a phenomenal husband. He got the better of us then.
Getting around a group of guys who do play, like, just play all the time. Because, like, in elementary school, I didn't really know too many guitarists or anything. Shit really hit the fan in middle school. Because, I mean, like, the schools, like, they, what's the word? Converge. I didn't want to say desegregate, that sounds bad. but they converge or whatever. You start to meet new people, and I mean, those people, I don't know. I met Trace in 6th grade, and he danced and played guitar. And I did know Travis, though. I knew Travis Phillips, and we were friends in elementary school. But he didn't start playing until he didn't start playing a lot until around like middle school. So we started to play music together, and that's one thing that really helped grow, or helped me grow. Just figure out how other people play, and like genre styles, because they're like more into country, and I never listened to any of that.
Right.
And but they were into the '60s and stuff though, so we clicked off that. So it was cool. We all had that core, and then we all just sort of like had our other things too that we were into. And actually, now sitting here talking about it, it's pretty cool how you just like run into people and you have that thing, and like I mean, you just
Yeah.
I guess like their influence just kind of rubs off on you a little bit,
Absolutely.
opens you up to new things.
Well, we were in separate bands in high school. Actually, at the same battle of bands, we beat his and Justin's band. Which I still like to bring up often.
That was actually with Justin, the drummer for Loose Leaves, and his brother Drew, who is Drawn Up from Forcefield. He played drums. His brother played bass, and our friends Travis Phillips and Aaron Derrick were in there with us, and we started out in me and Justin and Travis and Aaron were in 7th grade, and his brother Justin's brother Drew was in 8th grade, and we started out calling ourselves Tripwire, and we play at like the dances and things like that, and at friends' birthday parties and Halloween parties and stuff like that, like playing for pizza, which I'm pretty sure is what we got paid to play at the dances. Which, yeah,
Pizza.
pizza, lots of pizza.
Doesn't get better than that.
Getting paid in pizza. That's what the next album should be called, Paid in Pizza. But yeah, we played a lot up through the years and everything, and different incarnations. Once we were in high school, Justin's brother didn't play with us as much anymore. And there was we recorded an album in Johnson City called One Day. It was a small group of people. Yeah, there it is, right there. That right there on the far right. It was this.
Dude, it's an awesome album cover.
Yeah, and we made this. So we spent an ungodly amount of money recording.
How much was it? Do you remember?
It was like $1,200 or something, $45 an hour, and but it was fun.
Yeah.
It was an experience. So, and we bought jewel cases and printed these and made these nifty little
You still have some?
records. Yeah. So yeah, this one's just a mantelpiece.
It's more-
No.
It's more.
It had to come about through Travis, or did it? Well, we went to school, and the way middle school worked, there's a gold team and blue team. Trace was on the blue team, 6th grade. I remember that because I was on gold. And I can't remember how we meet, Trace. Can you?
How we meet?
Yeah. Do you
I
remember?
think it was through Travis.
Through Travis? It had to have been. Because I remember they were friends somehow, and like Travis introduced me to him. He was like, oh, he plays music too. I was like, okay, word. That's cool. And I can't remember the first time we jammed or anything, but I know it just like, it just went over well. It was just comfortable.
Yeah.
It was never any awkward, like, this, whatever. Like, I don't know. These guys were like, which I really like that it happened now because they're so outgoing, and I'm pretty shy and just like quiet. But they're all like, they're just goofballs and like don't give a fuck. They just don't. And I thought that was so sick. And I was like, all right, I want to hang out with them all the time because I mean, I'm gonna have a good time. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And it kind of showed out in the playing too. Like we all just like let our guard down. We played and they'd hoop and holler and oh shit. This is funny. All right, performance-wise, you said embarrassing thing. This was not live,
Yeah.
but we did a version of TNT in this very basement, in Trace's basement.
Uh-huh.
And I said high voltage, and my voice just completely yelped, and I got shit about that for years. I don't know if he remembers that, but that was very embarrassing to me. Yeah, just I guess through Travis, we just met and played together, and it was chill. That was it. We went through at least sophomore year. We played a small group of people. Well, Tripwire originally, Tripwire all through middle school, and then small group of people came at high school. We rebranded.
And then in high school, after that had kind of died down, Justin and Jacob and I were in like a after school like rock band. Like it was like a music thing for kids who weren't in the band.
When we were seniors in high school, we had a teacher, Gary Hensley, who was a gigging musician, and he started the Americana Band, which was like a school-sponsored rock band where everybody in the school that played guitar, bass, drums, keys, rock instruments, or just sang. We had a lot of singers could come, and we would practice once a week after school, and we learned a lot of covers. It was all covers, but we did a lot of like classic rock covers and stuff. And we would do shows in front of the school during homecoming, or we would just do after-school performances. And that was when me and Trace really started playing together, and Justin too. Justin was also in that.
In high school, but I've known Jacob the longest. We went to elementary school together. We've known each other since kindergarten, so we were always buds. But he didn't start playing music until like maybe the end of 8th grade. We had a music appreciation class in 8th grade, but it was only like it was a for lack of a better term, kind of like an intramural. They had them like once a week or something. Or like,
Right.
But it was at the end of the day. Go in, you got to jam for like 30 minutes, maybe an hour. But I remember Jacob coming to that. I was like, okay, he plays music now. That's cool. And he started playing bass, and I was like, okay, that's cool.
That is cool.
But we didn't play together until high school, and we did the Americana Band, which was fronted or started by our sociology teacher, Gary Hensley, who's the man. What up, Hensley? But yeah, we got to get, and the way it worked, you just had to pull kids, and everybody just played, and we picked who did what songs, and like you had the country kids and like your punk kids, and like, but the idea was all just collaborate and do songs together. Went over pretty well, and that's how we really started playing.
And then, but after we graduated high school, me and Trace lived directly across the hallway from each other in a dorm at ETSU, and that was when we really started playing together a lot, and that was when we formed Black Roof Country with Matt on drums and then Aaron Derrick singing. And we wrote a lot of songs in that, performed a lot of music for a number of years before that kind of fizzled out. It probably would have formed around the winter between 2010 and 2011, because I know our first semester at college, me and Trace did a number of gigs as like an acoustic duo. And then we started trying to put a band together, and I'd say Black Roof Country was probably the strongest from like middle of 2011 through to like the end of 2013, maybe middle of 2013. Yeah, well, we never officially released it as an album, but we had an album's worth of content recorded that was online. We never had a name for it or anything, but we had 12 or 13 songs written and recorded.
And then, singer from the small group of people thing that I just showed you, and me and Jacob and our friend Matt Smith got together and started a band. Our early college career, like freshman year in college, and it was called Black Roof Country, and we did a record with them. And I don't really we never necessarily released it as an album. Well, I guess we did. I don't know. But yeah, it was called Bury Some Gold. It's somewhere on the internet too. That was great. Matt's one of those people that he's good at anything he tries. So, and he had been playing guitar since probably almost as long as I had, and was, way better. I don't think he had been playing as long as me, but he's a phenomenal guitarist, and a great bassist, and a great drummer, and a good singer. Like, so he was like such an asset. And then Aaron Derrick is a very creative type and a good songwriter and a great singer. And so it went well. We made a lot of good music together, but eventually Matt had to go to college, and Aaron had to get serious about his work and everything, and felt like he couldn't do it anymore, which is regrettable. But he still writes and everything, and hopefully we're going to be recording together sometime soon. So played a lot of really cool shows. We opened for Foxy Shazam. Eric Nally, if you're out there, get your head out of your ass. Start the band back.
Well, me and Justin didn't even really have contact. I saw Justin maybe once between high school and really like the beginning of Loose Leaves. He was doing skating and stuff. I don't even know that he was working on music all that much, because I used to see him because I worked at the Domino's on Center Street, and he was always at the skate park directly across the street.
Right.
But I didn't even talk to him. I just would see him, wave at him.
Yeah.
Even though, I mean, me and Justin were in kindergarten together. Like, we grew up together. We played Little League Baseball together when we were, like, 11. Like, we were always cool. But, like, after high school, I didn't really see him until about when Loose Leaves was starting up.
After high school, probably just like random jams every now and again, random shows with like me and whoever need to fill in, like nothing too serious. Doing, I was probably doing a lot of like videography. I used to be into videography. I still am a little bit now, but much more then. So I was probably doing a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as music goes, not too much. Pretty quiet. And, well, not completely. I did start sort of getting serious about programming music. Like, my brother bought Fruity Loops. Golly, it's hard to say that 3 times fast. But you used to be able to get it for free. You probably still can. But he was like, we thought it was sick, and he was like, fuck, I'm just going to buy the producer edition. Because he wanted to do music, and he wanted to spit, and he's a spitter anyway. He's always been into poetry.
Drew, you're talking about?
Yeah. So that kind of naturally happened. And so he got that and got interested to that a little bit more. Started really like interested in making beats because I was kind of into. I've always kind of been into producers. Going back a little bit in the story, there used to be this game on PlayStation 1. It's called Music Generator, and it was basically a beat maker. My older brother had it, and he was like, "Yo, see if you can figure this out," because I don't get it. I was like, okay. But it's basically like, it's almost like Ableton. You just had your grid, you had your key of sounds, all these loops, all these whatever one shots, and you just make what you can make. And I did that all the fucking time. And I was pretty little then. I was probably like around like 9 or 10. I used to be super into Cash Money, like Manny Fresh, Lil Wayne. That was my shit. And like early like
Birdman.
Yeah, dude. It's my shit. And like with our older brother being the one to pick us up, being the older dude, pick us up from school, he was always blasting like that or like Project Pat, shit we weren't supposed to be listening to. But yeah, so like with that influence, like like that music's just really cool. I thought like just how people went about making those beats and stuff, I was like, man, that's like so interesting. So I just did that all the time and got pretty comfortable with that, and so it transferred over to Fruity Loops and I just started making some music, and it's kind of the early beginnings of Force Field. Even though Drew was spitting quite a while before I stepped into that picture. Drew was drawn up for like probably 2 or 3 years at that point.
Well, Matt and Trace originally started recording Pens and Pages together as a demo to give to me and Aaron, and they were going to be Black Roof Country songs. And then that developed into the Pens and Pages album, which is exclusively Matt and Trace on it. And then that would have been 2014 about. And we'd brought Justin in, and we'd practiced some. And Matt played lead guitar, Trace played rhythm guitar, and we had 4 members at the time. And we did a few gigs that way, and then Matt had to go to med school, I guess, in the beginning of 2015, and that was when we just decided to keep doing it as a 3-piece, because we thought about adding other guitar players, and we just decided we liked playing as a 3-piece.
Pins and Pages is actually Matt and I recorded that in 2015, like I want to say the summer of 2015, but I'm not sure about that. Maybe some of 2014, honestly. Well, yeah, it would have had to be. But yeah, he and I recorded that, and I had all these songs that were backlogged from. The original idea was to do demos to show Jacob and Aaron, and like get them familiar with songs for when we were able to record and everything, and we wound up just recording a whole album, and then that's when we put Loose Leaves together as that. So originally it was Matt Smith, Justin Horde, Jacob Tipton, and myself, and so then Matt had to go to medical school, so we're keeping it going down here. That was when Jacob and I really got acquainted, was in the Falcon Americana band, the extracurricular rock band thing in our high school. So that was when he and I really met. We knew of each other, I guess, but yeah. I didn't really know him until then, so we wound up getting along and knowing each other, and then we figured out we were going to the same college, and we were going to be staying in the same dorm, so we tried to be roommates, but we didn't get a deadline or something, but we wound up being across the hallway neighbors, so I would go into his dorm and eat all his snacks, and I gotta get Jake on here to tell the chip story. That's the funniest thing I've ever done.